a very, very big welcome back to yet another episode of the Humble Climb podcast. A massive thank you for everyone for tuning in on the last episode with Massimo D'Ambrosio, which was incredible and a huge engagement. So I can't thanks enough to continue to create a spotlight onto these stories and some of these amazing people that we have within our community. And I'm bringing another person today. But before we do that, I've got to always thank our sponsors for continuing to assist us on this program. So Gigi Hair and Kids, thank you so much. Marissa at Berkeley Street in Huntingdale there. Go and see her for all of your luscious locks. And then, of course, we've got Barbecue Brothers back. But Andrew from Barbecue Brothers for all your catering. I mean, I know you probably don't mind some hit on the spit there or anything like that. Make sure if your next event, if you need someone to cater it, Andrew's fantastic at Barbecue Brothers. Anthony Gallo from Beckett Property, a huge, huge thank you for all your buyers, advocates needs being in the real estate market. If you do need any assistance, make sure that you go and see them. And last but not least, Pip from Property Society Co. with all your styling. If you are looking at selling and you need your place styled, feel free to go and see Pip. And everything can be seen within our Instagram and messages, so feel free to come through. But today's guest, so excited for. We've been talking about it for a long time and trying to make it happen, and we finally brought it to life. But Kristina Liotis, did I say that right?
Yep.
Amazing. Who's done a huge amount for our Greek community, I believe, and that's why I wanted to shine a spotlight on Kristina and everything that she does. She's the founder of Are You Even Greek, which is probably a reel you all have been sent in your DMs before, has probably been created by Kristina. She's an amazing person, and I'm so, so blessed that she accepted the invitation to come on. So, Kristina, thank you so much and welcome to the Humble Climb.
Thank you for having me.
I'm wrapped. We've been talking about this for a little while, and I probably have seen your growth. Not you as a person, obviously, because we just met today, but I've seen your growth into the page and what you've done for our community, and obviously me being a local Oakley head, as we were just talking off air. I'm a sucker for all things Greek, and so when I come across a page like yours in its early infancy stage,
yes,
I was hooked. So
thank you for supporting me.
No, I love it. I think you do amazing, amazing things. And off the bat, I genuinely want to say thank you so much for doing what you do for our culture, because you bring everything that it is with history, culture, and personally for me, faith. And you bring it all to the forefront, and you don't let those roots die.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think is so important. And I'm looking forward to dissecting it all.
Yeah, well, likewise. It's a passion of mine, and I love what I do. And I hope I can continue doing it.
Well, let's start from the start, and then we'll delve in as we go. So let's talk your early childhood, grandparents, parents, all those types of things.
Yeah.
For me, understanding, a bit more, not just me, but viewers understanding a little bit more as to Kristina, the person behind it all, and what makes Kristina Liotis.
Yeah. So my upbringing was a typical Greek Australian upbringing, I suppose. So my mother's side, so my maternal grandparents were here in Australia. My mum came to Australia in the 60s as a baby and went to school in Australia. She then travelled to Greece when she finished school and met my dad. Married my dad in Greece, and then my dad migrated with my mum to Australia in the 80s.
Okay.
And then they had me. And then decided to they got pregnant to me in Greece and decided to raise me in Australia. My dad had a very thick accent, and so I got to experience, I suppose, what my mum also experienced growing up in Australia with parents that had thick accents. So my dad's English was good, but he still had a very Greek accent, and my mum could speak English perfectly because she went to school here. We grew up in Richmond.
Not too far from here.
Not too far from here.
At the Roland Studios in Abbotsford, plug.
Yeah. And so although my parents had moved to the eastern suburbs, I did stay a lot in Richmond because my grandparents lived here. So when my parents were at work or, needed babysitters on the weekend, I was always in Richmond. So we'd go down to the milk bars, go to the local Greek church on Burnley Street. That was my, upbringing. And for primary school, I went to Oakley Greek Orthodox College.
Did you?
I did.
What's wrong?
Yeah, I only went there for primary school.
So did I.
Oh.
There you go.
But I'm much older than you.
Yeah. No, we don't look it, but anyway.
And so I went there till grade 6. And then I went to a normal high school, just a state school. And my year level had that many Greeks in it that the parent committee got together. And by year 9, our Lot language was available for Greek.
Oh, that's gold.
Yeah, so I only did Greek school outside of hours for 2 years. So I was quite lucky.
Amazing.
And I hated it.
Was that a school in the southeast? Or was
Yeah,
that around here,
southeast.
Richmond, or no?
No, it was in the southeast. And I could tell you off air.
Oh, yeah.
And it was amazing. So from year 9 onwards, I did Greek for a Lot language in school.
Yeah, amazing.
So when I do
saved you those Friday nights or Saturday afternoons.
but I did experience them. So for year 7 and year 8,
Yeah.
I had to go outside of hours, and I absolutely hated it. So that's where a lot of my jokes come from. It was even though like a lot of our friends and family that didn't go to Greek, I was going to say Greek Author because that was the nickname, but Oakley Greek Orthodox. It's called Oakley Grammar now.
No, it's changed.
Anyway, so that was my Greek school experience.
I'm pretty, and I know I'm not a parent yet, so I probably shouldn't talk. I'll put that asterisk there. But I'm pretty big on the Lot or the language other than English.
100%.
Lot is language other than English for those who are not sure.
Sorry.
But I'm pretty big on that, as in on relation to. I see people that I know that have got Greek, that have got children. Or they're bringing up with all the correct ways with their culture and their faith and everything like that. But then the kids aren't going to Greek school. The kids are complaining. I mean, the greatest respect, where the kids not complain in a nice way.
Absolutely.
I think I was one of those kids that did complain, and I'm so glad that my mum pushed me to finish it and was like, no, well, there's just no other option.
Yeah.
You actually have to do it. And we did it on Saturday afternoons to start with, and then we turned to Friday nights. And yes, there was so many times where I hated it, but looking back now, I'm so glad I finished it.
Same. Yeah, absolutely.
Because obviously at Oakley Greek Ortho, I was at, which is now Oakley Grammar, as we just said, but I was at Oakley Greek when it was called Oakley Greek Orthodox College in primary school. Where you're almost fluent by the end of year 6.
Absolutely,
because you've learnt it all and you can communicate, and it gives you a greater history perspective. But
you're immersed in the language there.
For sure.
You speak it with the teachers often, with the kids because we're all Greek.
Yeah, it's funny. Me and Sophia, my partner, we talk about it all the time now. Like having children, we always say like, where would you send the kids? Like for me, it's a no-brainer. We both went to OGOC, so it's an easy one to fix, and Papa would be so proud anyway. But yeah, it's funny how many people I see that don't because their kids don't like it or they don't enjoy it. But then I love when the parents are like, I don't care that you hate it, you're going. Like I think it's just incredible.
If I lived close, I'd probably send my kids. But my children do Greek school now.
I imagine I can't see your kids not finishing it.
My daughter, she hates it, but she loves it. She's got a love-hate relationship with it. But it's a non-negotiable for us.
And that's the thing when like growing up, it's almost like growing up Greek. You never feel, and you probably maybe felt it to a degree as well, actually. You never feel like you're settled. I don't know. That was always to a degree. You're in Australia. You're that Western-oriented gentleman. Whatever it might be. They used to get called the wog.
Absolutely.
You go to Greece, you're the Australo.
100%. Well, my paternal grandparents were in Greece, so when we would go to Greece, I was the Australaki.
Yeah.
And we'd play, we'd play with the other kids there, and they would say you're the Australaki. But when I would come here, I was not so much in primary school because I went to
same.
Yeah. But when I went to year 7 is when I first realised I was different.
Yeah.
And that's when, the WOG got thrown at me. You're a WOG girl. But it was probably not as bad as, the 60s, 70s.
100%.
It was sort of like you owned it. It's like, I am a WOG girl.
Yeah, I remember I've got, there's so many moments now that I look back on in years, especially years 10, 11, 12, where the years 7 to 9, I'm always been proud to be Greek Orthodox. As the years get on, I think you get more proud.
Yeah.
And you can probably attest to that.
Yeah.
But I reckon it really picked up years 10, 11, 12. People were mean, like, about you being that person and not being the Aussie or whatever. And I'm always been that very we accept all type of
Yes.
approach.
Of course, yeah.
But it's funny how quickly it gets thrown around and you're always trying to fit in. And then, I don't know, I feel like once you finish school, you're like, you know what, like,
Mm.
I'm not going to probably see you guys again, so whatever. But it's interesting how it works. Talking as to sort of the way that you've done it, I know as I said, I was just saying to you about the page and are you even Greek and all those types of things. Did you imagine that page would be where it is now from when you first had the idea of starting it?
No.
Mm.
So I initially started it because, well, to be honest, boredom. And I was on maternity leave and it was late at night and
So how many years are we talking on this?
this was 2019,
Just before COVID.
December. So right before everything hit, meaning the pandemic hit.
Yep.
And my friends and I would always be, and sisters would always be in the WhatsApp and we would, crack jokes and usually Greek related because we're all Greek. And I was very passionate from day dot of social media of sharing Greek history. As I would learn more, I would want to share it.
Mm.
And someone said, oh, now that you're not working, you should just start an Insta. And I went, and do what, memes? And they go, just do it. Because I would send it in the group chats anyway. So I'd find the photo and then type the joke.
Right.
Right. And someone just goes, just do it, like, for fun, for a laugh. So initially in that first week, it was just me and my friends like ha-ha-haing in the comments. And I started as an anonymous face. I never said this is Kristina. So I was anonymous. And then one day I woke up and I had 5,000 followers.
Literally just overnight?
Literally overnight. And I went, what? And then my husband goes to me, your phone wouldn't stop all night. Ding, 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 ding. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, Anyway, so I persisted and I kept it anonymous. And then I said, oh my gosh, it's growing, but I don't want to put myself out there. Like, I've got young kids. I was a bit skeptical. And pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic just blew up my following because everyone's at home. They had nothing else to do. And I think it was, let's say around Easter time, I had like 25,000 followers.
In the space of 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, it was rapidly growing. And people were noticing in the community. And people wanted to interview me on podcasts, things like that. And I was saying, no, I'm anonymous. And not a lot of people would do faceless podcasts as they wanted someone to come on or do a Zoom. Being in lockdown as well by then, we couldn't do it in person. And that's how it's just started growing. And then fast forward to 2021, the Greek fires in Evia and other parts of Greece were quite aggressive and things were getting out of hand over there. And although I was still anonymous, I wanted to do something. I had a huge following by then. And together with 2 other organisations, 2 admins from a Facebook Greek mums page, so Greek Mums and Bubs of Melbourne. It was Effie and Tina, and another lady that had a charity, Hellenic Heart. Her name's Ria. We joined forces and thought, let's raise money to send over there so that Greece can rebuild. Again, we didn't expect how much we were going to raise. We thought even if it's just a few $100s, just something to contribute. We were in lockdown, mind you, so we couldn't really do a fundraiser or anything like that, like an event per se. So I put it out there to my stories and I said, we want to do an online auction. If businesses who were in lockdown want to help donate items so people can bid on them towards the charity, we'd be open for people and blah, blah, blah. The next day we had hundreds and hundreds of businesses donating goods and anything. It was from jewelry to food vouchers to kids' clothes, like whatever you could think of was
And all that money was going towards Greece.
yes,
Incredible.
yeah. So Hellenic Heart had a charity account, and it was like a full-time job. We were entering all these items daily, so people just kept donating, and then we had the auction, and as soon as it went live, it just went nuts, and we raised close to $25,000.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I actually remember, so there was because we're from Evia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and my mum at the time was bidding on a few items.
Mm-hmm.
God bless her. And one of them is actually in my office that she was successful at purchasing.
Oh, really?
So to this day, I've got that in my office, which is I don't know if it's plastic or glass. It's like a glass print,
Yep.
and it's got a tsolya.
Yes, I know which one. Yeah.
So that's sitting in my office,
Yeah. Oh,
which
wonderful.
Mum bought for my office.
Oh, that's so good.
And it's funny that it came genuinely from that. So it's
Yeah.
we come back full circle.
Yeah, there you go.
But for us being, well, either way, anytime you hear Greek, you think philotimo, let's go, let's help.
100%.
That's just the way that it is. And you can't explain the word philotimo because
Yeah.
there's no language translator for it.
Yeah.
You just either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, and I didn't do it. I couldn't do it alone because that old Greek phrase, one bee does not make all the honey.
Mm.
And we worked so well together as a team. And it was such a good job that we did that. And I'm quite proud of it.
Yeah, I would say too.
That news, the Greek papers got a whiff of it. And they were all interviewing us. And I was freaking out because I was anonymous.
You were still faceless at the stage.
Yeah, and I'm like, they want my name. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, look.
So who knew? Just your close circle?
My very close circle.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so the girls the girls knew me. That's why we worked together. And then after that, the Greek news got a whiff of it in Greece. And because I had put my real name in the article, I had them DMing me on my personal account. We want to interview you. We want you to come on the news. And my Greek's good, but it's not Greek news good. Yeah. You know, I can't like wing it like that. And I was like, look, I don't know if I can do that. And he goes, can I call you and talk to you in Greek? And then I'll tell you if you'll be all right. I go, all right, sure. So the journalist calls me and he goes, Mia charata milas.
Yeah.
You speak it just fine. And the day came where they interviewed me and my face now, it's a Zoom, and my face is this huge screen behind the journalists, and that kind of stumped me.
Yeah.
And then he was the co-host, but the main journalist, she ripped out these Greek words.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, and she was like, and I went, huh? And it stumped me for a second because I had to process it, and I was like, thank God no one knows about that interview because I was anonymous at the time.
Now they do.
Now they do. So if you want to see me stumble, that's the interview.
Was it on Star? What was it on? Maybe
I'm not saying.
We'll have to try and track it down.
It was one of the main channels. So yeah, and then another channel, which was in the same organisation, called me the following week and said, we want to interview you. It was for a different part of Greece, and we want to interview you as well. And I go, but you won't be in person. It will just be a phone call. I'm like, that's fine. And I aced that one. I think it wasn't as daunting as looking at yourself. So yeah, but no one knows about these interviews. I never shared that I wasn't looking for clout. I wasn't, but I was happy to tell the people of Greece, yeah, this is what we did and we are in lockdown and we can't do anything. This is the most we can do.
Yeah, I love that.
And yeah, so the four of us that worked really hard on this are really proud of that achievement. And then we had this money and we're like, okay, so who do we give it to? And we spoke with Hellenic Initiative in Australia. And they said, look, you need to find a charity that is on the ground in Greece. And they recommended Desmos.
Okay.
And we then transferred the funds. It was very transparent. So the people that were donating knew exactly where the money was going to go. It was basically to rebuild parts that had been ruined in Evia. And they used our money to rebuild children's playgrounds and football fields.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I always think to myself sometimes that from the greatest from like the saddest and most horrible things, sometimes the greatest silver linings come out in a
Yeah.
lot of ways.
Yeah.
That's so I think being able to know, like I said, being someone actually from Evia,
Mm.
and like I go see that place every year. Like
It's
it's
such a beautiful island.
where well either regardless. I mean, I've always said us Greeks in Melbourne, or Greeks in general, we are the most biased when it comes to our villages. We have got the best villages. Like I did a thing with when I went with my Sophia now in July, and I'm from Evia, so I'm telling her how amazing Evia is, and pretty much we're there for 5 weeks. Honey, let's do 4.5 there, right? Like I'm right, which didn't happen obviously. And then anyway, so then we went up to her parts, which was in Larissa and Trikala, which were also amazing, right? But
Yeah.
different beauty.
Exactly. Every part of Greece has their own charm. When someone says to me, what's your favorite part of Greece? I can't tell you. Obviously, I'm biased to, I feel that nostalgic feeling from where my family's from. But when it comes to tell me the best spot, I can't tell you that because what you're going to find in Crete, you're not going to find in Athens.
That's right.
And what you find in Athens, you're not going to find in Thessaloniki.
No, and that's the genuine thing. So I was making jokes along the way, like now Larissa Trikala, I was like, where's the beach? I'm like, I come from a Horio where our village is all beach bound. You walk to the beach, you're there in 30 seconds. Like, you got your Freddo on the sand, and then I'm obviously going towards thing, and I started putting it on my Insta, and it became something that actually started to trend a bit because I was documenting in a lot of ways just me being me, like with my on Instagram, having fun with it. So like when we get to Larissa, like I'm like, oh honey, this is great. And then I started to like flip the camera. I'm like, where's the beach? Where's the beach? Where's the beach? And everyone's like, anyway, everyone wanted updates on like, Dim, did you find a beach yet? Like it became thing, but it was a different beauty. Like genuinely was stunning, which is a complete different beauty. So you've either got that in you where you love your patrida and your motherland or you don't. Like I don't look at Greece as just Greece. Like I look at it as a point of view, and I'm sure you're the same, where it means a lot more. I feel a lot closer to my family over there. I feel a lot closer to my grandparents. And even though they're deceased, I probably seeing their brothers and sisters still living keeps me there.
Yeah.
I don't know, village life is something different. And if you can't experience, and it also allows you to get out of this rat race of Melbourne.
Like when I land in Greece, I just feel different. It's like I'm home. I've just arrived home. And I don't feel like that anywhere else in the world.
It's so funny how many people say that. I speak about it with my handyman, Terry, who's from Greece, and he's like, Philip, I get on these escalators and I get the same feeling every time I hit the escalator. I'm just, because he's literally from Greece. He's like, I can't explain it. I'm speechless and I want to cry. And it's funny because you do, because when you do get there, I mean, I remember once I was kissing the ground.
Yeah. You see that flag at the Athens airport, and you're just like, you smell the kapno.
Yeah. It's this,
then the bus fumes.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm home.
Literally, there's nothing better, and especially when it's summer too, and it's starting to be hot, and you're just like, man, I'm here. I think that's the hard part. Like I've got this part at the moment, and we talk about it all the time, but I can't not go to Greece every year. And I know it's very different where I don't have the responsibilities of children, and maybe that would be different in thing. But at the moment, it's just me and Sophia. So
why not?
I just want to soak it up as much as we can and go as often. And I want to, we want to get married over there. So when the time comes, of course. But and health all going well. But there's something about that place that you've either got that love for it or you don't. And I think that's what I love most about probably what we're just talking off air about Oakley.
Yeah. Oakley gets a bad rap sometimes, but if you actually think about it, there's nowhere in Australia that has an Oakley.
No, there's no more.
There's nowhere. There's nowhere you can go where every single shop in that square is Greek.
Yeah.
You hear people speaking Greek. There are Greek shops, Greek produce. We're quite blessed to have Oakley.
It's special. And working in there, I never used to work in Oakley, but I used to, now obviously our office at Buxton Oakley, 21 Atherton Road Oakley, plug, is obviously located there. It is special to be there. I can never get sick of the place.
Yeah.
Genuinely. It's like someone wants to meet, oh, let's go to Nichols today. Let's go to Vanilla today. Let's go to
Yeah.
Melissa today.
Yeah.
Like we can change it up. We'll feel like a sweet, easy. I feel like something to eat that maybe, kick back, I'll go to Oakley. Like it's just,
Yeah,
it's got
exactly.
everything. I don't
Yeah.
have to go anywhere. And then obviously I know by the time this releases, the festival would have happened. But we've got the big Oakley Glendy this weekend, which is going to be another amazing thing for Oakley in general. It's funny, I got asked to run for council
You should.
recently, but I'm not something that I'm able to do at the moment. But I'm in love with the place, and it's the closest thing to home.
Yeah.
I think that's where I probably find it so special to not be able to be there. But touching on your love of, and obviously I know that, you blew it up. And then obviously I imagine once the fires happened, just your page has just grown and grown and grown and grown and grown.
Yeah.
And you can always tell from someone's engagement whether it's real or fake. And well and truly your one is real.
Yes.
There's no bought followers and BS else that goes with it.
No bots.
No, there's no bots. I'm not interested in those bots. So you can always tell when someone's real. But yeah, you've just seen this astronomical continuous climb, haven't you?
I have. I've created quite a community, and I had to make a decision. I think it was towards the end of 2021. The podcast that Angelo Tsarouchas runs with two other gentlemen. He was in my outbox in my DMs, and one day because my DMs are very busy, they're high traffic, and sometimes if I've got things on, I lose control of my inbox. And I went through I was just cleaning everything up, responding to whoever I could. And I'm like, oh, what's this? He'd asked me to go on his podcast, and he'd been sitting there for ages. And then I showed my husband, and my husband goes, just do it. Okay, but then I'm going to
show my face.
Yeah.
You're exposed.
Yeah, so I had to think about it, and then I just went for it because I was very I have a love-hate relationship with social media. I appreciate it, but I also appreciate my privacy. So that's why I was a bit skeptical at the start to open that door.
I can say that.
But I did that, and then from there, more podcasts wanted me to come on, and but we're talking international ones. One was in America, the other one was in Canada, then some other ones in Australia as well, and and I just went, all right, let's just do it. I'll come out and I'll be the face as well, so people can, I suppose, connect with me in a different level, and that's also changed the way my page is growing now as well.
I think it's awesome to see your recognition, and because you also bring something different to the table. It's not just about I'm Greek and we're funny, hypothetically, which I think Sushi Mango has done an amazing thing of doing, because they are hilarious at what they do, and we can all resonate, a lot of us, to what they do. Like I went and saw their show and I thought it was hilarious. So I think they take care of that model of being the funny, our generations before us. Whereas what you do is bring light to the current stuff that's happening, or you're a newsbreaker, you're an information center, you're a historian. You bring value to our culture, but you also recognize when there's an important feast day, our faith side of things. So you're almost like a news channel to a degree. I don't know if you've seen it like that, but
yeah, I'm like a mixed bag.
Yeah.
I wear a lot of hats in different topics. My niche is being Greek. That's my niche, and for me, what it means being Greek for me. So I'm Greek Orthodox. I have my faith, and I make a lot of jokes about our nuances, but I respect our nuance too. I love that. That's a part of us, and history for me. Mostly Greek, but generally history is something I've always loved.
Yeah.
And because I'm Greek and we have such a rich history, I read about it a lot, and from a very young age. So my first ever Greek history character was Pavlos Melas, and I resonate a lot with him. And I always talk about him too. He's just someone that always pops into my mind when I think, if you're going to ask me who's one of your favourite historians. And then, of course, we've got the 1821 heroes of Kolokotroni, Bubulina, all them. And then there's where do you start? Like there's the antiquity side of Greece. How long's a piece of string?
I find it amazing because for me, and everyone always knows this, that's in my circles, I'm not, I have, even when we were at school, history was never something for me, which I took interest in, right? Like as in the Ohi days, and I understand and I love, but I've always been more hypothetically, or probably later in life, has been, I want to know the history of our saints, right? Versus, but I've never really been into history. So then when I read your stuff, I'm like, oh shit, that's interesting. Like it actually catches me by surprise. And you've got to, I imagine personally a lot of your following would actually be people like me who have not been those history type of people, but they get a short snapshot and a short summary.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, at least I know that now, right?
Yeah.
Versus me, hypothetically, you said to me, Dim, here's a book on Pavlov Mela, and I'd be like, look, I love you, but I probably don't want to read it because it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you said to me, hey, here's a book on Eos Paisios as an example,
yeah,
I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's that difference. And that's what I love about your page because it's just continuously news. I mean, we saw recently the sad thing of George Baldock, the Greek soccer player, which passed away. Then Greece beat England in England. Like, you're already posting Greece beating England. So you're waking up, and a lot of us do. We grab our phone, the first thing, jump on Insta. You're like, oh, how good's this?
Yeah.
We just beat England in England. Even though I was trying to watch it, but I kept on falling asleep. But do you know what I mean? You're becoming that person, which I think has become such a value when people are decluttering their Instagram feeds or their Facebook feeds or whatever it is with people. You're not that one anymore. Well, not that you were, I'm sure, but you can't be unfollowed. Because you're providing so much value, and I think your constant engagement. I'd love to quickly touch on to make a post like a meme or a reel or mainly a meme. Let's just say. I mean, and you're obviously extremely gifted creatively. How long does it take you?
Oh, it's really quick.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of the memes aren't pre-planned.
Yeah.
A lot of the memes are just off
Spur
the
of the
cuff.
moment. Yeah. Wow. Like I love when Easter time comes along and you see whatever it is, the line at Oakley at the butchers with everything, that's your domain. Like you are on and you're ready to go. But I've always found it just so interesting that you're always just on it. Like I'm like, man, this girl is just like, she's on it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you fit in being a mother, a wife, and a Collingwood supporter, and, and everything else in between, which is incredible. But
now everyone's going to unfollow me.
I think you know what it is. It's the thing is that you're lucky that so many Greeks do go for. I'm a Richmond guy, so.
Yeah.
I think, if you're Greek, you're almost going really for Richmond, Carlton, Essendon, or Collingwood.
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up in Richmond and my mum and her cousin decided to go against the family and they went for Collingwood.
Yeah, right.
So half of my family are Richmond and the other half are Collingwood now. So Richmond, I suppose, is our little soft spot there.
Yeah.
Because it's like, your family goes
100%.
for it. And then Collingwood in the late 90s weren't very successful, but I stayed loyal to them. But I did have I created a soft spot for another team. So Carlton became my soft spot because all the Woggy boys were in Carlton. So we had Kuda, Christu, Silvani, and funny enough, I married a Carlton supporter.
Oh, no way.
And a very passionate one at that.
I love it.
Yeah. So now, and my children, I didn't win that fight. My children became Carlton. They were members at birth. And, so I go to a lot of Carlton games. And Carlton has always been, but prior to meeting my husband, my second team per se.
So it's funny, I'm a Richmond fan and I can't understand so I've got a massive soft spot genuinely for Collingwood and Carlton.
Yeah.
I don't hate Collingwood. I don't hate Carlton.
Yeah.
Because we all know so many people that go for them.
Yeah.
Right? But if you said to me, Collingwood versus Geelong, I'm like, man, I hope Geelong gets smashed. Yeah. Right? Because I don't know many Geelong supporters. I don't really enjoy Geelong. Or North Melbourne. I don't enjoy it. Hawthorn, couldn't care.
Yeah.
But those, Essendon, but the only ones, Richmond, Collingwood, Carlton, I love them. I do actually really like them. Even though I don't go for the other two, I do like them.
Yeah. Well, my husband hates Collingwood.
Yeah.
and he's always hated them. But since me, he's come a long way. It's like it was like forbidden love, It's like Romeo and Juliet, forbidden love.
I love that. I wanted to talk about because I've obviously across your journey, I've seen people pipe up at comments and stuff like that, and social media and trolls and all that type of jazz. What's been some of the positives and negatives of having a page that gets a lot of engagement?
Well, yeah. I mean, the positives are that you create a little community for yourself, and over the years I've made a lot of good friends that are not only in Melbourne but from interstate and even overseas. Like you find that you'll support their pages and they support you, and you become a clique, I suppose. So I look out for those pages and I want to support them, and I get the same in return. And just more so about it's a community. That's the positive. And the negative would be, and look, I don't get negative trolls or whatever you want to call it from the community, from Greeks per se. I get them from our neighbouring countries.
Yeah, always.
Because I talk a lot about history, and that's also part of why I wanted to stay anonymous, because I don't want these people that come to my page aggressively knowing who I am. Being a mother, of course, I don't want my identity getting out there. That was my mindset.
Has there ever been a scary moment?
Not really.
No.
Not scary. I'm quite thick-skinned, so I'm quite. I like confrontation.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have orexy, I'll have orexy.
Yeah.
How do we say that in? If you're going to have passion to come
passion,
over and troll me, I'll troll you back.
Yeah.
That's just how I am.
Yeah, I love it.
And
It's like standing up to a bully.
yeah, and they'll come with their crap that they're spewing, but I'll back it up because I know my history.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, actually, what you're saying is not correct because this is what
XYZ.
really happened.
Yeah.
And I think that in the beginning, especially because I was in lockdown and had nothing else better to do than argue back with the trolls.
Yeah, of course.
That the community saw that and they're like, she actually isn't just talking crap. She knows
Her stuff.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I like that. Have you ever thought, I don't know if there was ever stages, and I hope it hasn't been, but have you ever thought, oh, shit, you know what, this is getting too hard? Like keeping up with replying and this and that. It's just doing my head in, like, and then you got to deal with like years from other people and all that type of stuff. Have you ever just had that moment where you thought, you know what, I just might shut the whole thing down, I'm done?
Yeah, so last year I had a lot on my plate because being in Melbourne, life for a Melburnian, I think last year really got back to normal. And so you got back into working, you got back into real life, events, functions, kids, this, that. And then I thought, I took half a year off. If you add it all up, there was 6 months of me not being online and my page was still growing. And I'd be like, sorry, guys, I'm taking a break for this week or I'm taking a break. I took months off sometimes and people would be like, where are you? Yeah. And then once I got my shit together and found my normal again, that's when I suppose I found more inspiration as well.
Yeah.
I launched Greek Eats this year.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
I love it.
So something that would always pop up in my DMs was, where can I go to eat apart from Oakley? Because we all know Oakley. We know what we're going to find there. And I'd say, oh, well, yeah, you can go here because I predominantly dine Greek.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what area are you in? Where are you going? City? Great, go here. I'd always have answers for them. And then my husband goes, maybe you should do something about restaurants or where you go to eat or where you go out. And I'm like, okay, well, that means I've really got to put myself out there because I hadn't really done much of that. It was just quick little snippets of me, if anything. And it's just become so successful. I've been asked to go to Sydney. Adelaide's coming up as well.
So they fly you to Sydney to go do it?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And put you up at a hotel or something too?
Yeah, so it's made my page sustainable now.
Amazing.
Where in the past I was doing it just for fun. Just because I loved doing what I was doing. But now I'm getting paid to do what I love.
I love
Yeah.
this. When you make passion your paycheck.
Or then you don't work a day in your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. It's so good. It's so good. Like I've watched all the Greek Eats, mainly because I'm not that talented with like technology, and I mean like the little Rode, what do they call the microphones and all those now. And I love the stuff the way you shoot and that. Like I
Thanks.
just like that engagement. Like don't get me wrong, and the food of course, because as you can tell, I love my food.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more just like I'm like, man, this girl's like it's so talented. Like it's great to see. It's also special when you know that someone's in your backyard, and by that I mean a local product going. I'm all about I love seeing people grow. It's a win for the little guys, right? So yeah, like I saw you in Sydney. I think when you released it last night.
Yeah. I've got 2 more episodes in Sydney. I might be going back at the end of the year.
Incredible.
We're just ironing out dates.
Yeah.
And Adelaide as well.
Incredible. And you just see this great, because I wanted to ask you about the Greek Eats, because I've noticed the thing, like there was a restaurant that you put on. I think it was the one in Mooney Ponds, Phil
Helene.
Was it the one in Mooney Ponds? Yeah. Which I didn't even know existed.
Yeah.
And then I saw the video and I was like, this looks fantastic. And I think we made a booking to go with the family in late November.
Yeah, wonderful.
It's funny how it works, but it's also just a great way to be. And I also love the fact that it's not just, I don't even think you've done an episode in Oakley.
I haven't.
Yeah, which I love, because it's actually putting others on the map as well, as Oakley Central as I am.
Look, Oakley is self-promotion. Like you can't, if you've got a shop there, people are going to come to you.
That's right.
Because when people think Greek in Melbourne, that's where their mind goes. Not that I wouldn't promote them if they needed to.
No, yeah, of course.
But it's the other guys that need that extra support. And funny you mentioned Phil Helene. My videos have been so successful. They want me to come back and do a part 2.
Yeah.
They're like, that worked. Let's do a part 2.
Yeah.
And the feedback I'm getting from the businesses is nothing but positive.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy as well, that I'm actually helping businesses, especially after what we went through in lockdown.
It's value add.
Yeah.
It's value add, and I think that's priceless
Mm.
in a lot of ways. Do you feel now, like at all, and it might sound like a silly question, but do you feel at all like you've got a sense of responsibility of upholding our Greek heritage, culture, faith, all those types of things at all?
Yeah, in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel
I
like
wanted to ask you that because it's, I don't know, I think what started off as a bit of a fun project has now become into something which...
Yeah, I mean, even the name was because a lot of the jokes in my WhatsApp group chat was, are you even Greek if? Are you even Greek if not? And if I had started it maybe seriously, maybe I wouldn't have even used that name. It was just such a off-the-cuff idea that I was basically trying to entertain my brain so it doesn't go to mush on maternity leave.
Yeah.
Because you're there immersed with the baby and you're isolated in those early weeks and months anyway, because just you and the baby and doing what you have to do to have your baby thrive. I needed that downtime for me, and because I was always in a social media marketing industry, I needed that interaction still. So I'm kind of happy that I did start it, and I hope I can continue doing it.
So following into the next question, where do you sort of seeing it going? Like this phenomenon that you've created to a degree?
Yeah, I would love to grow it to a point where I can kind of be an ambassador for the Greek community and bring everything they need to light. That would be something I would love to do. And also bring causes that are important to me, such as the Greek genocide that happened around World War I. If I can get that to gain worldwide recognition one day, I know a lot of my posts have created movement towards it, but I would love to make it recognised, because it's not at the moment.
Have you had to make that distinction or correlation? As in, I can post this there because to my people or my followers and my small followers, right? Versus I can post this out to the public. Have you had to make that distinction?
I do choose.
Yeah.
I try and keep what I post on Are You Even Greek relative to only Greeks.
Yeah.
So things that Greeks would only find interesting. If I have a lot of knowledge about various things, but if I make it too political or too controversial,
It becomes an issue.
and that's when the community will fight with each other.
Mm.
In the beginning, like when Trump was president, he has some really funny things that come out of his mouth, and it doesn't mean I'm a Trump supporter. I just genuinely, as an Australian, find American politics in general hilarious.
Mm.
And if I did create a meme with him saying something, I would see Greek Americans punch on in the comments.
Which is not the idea of what you want.
And that's not so. I unless it was really funny, I wouldn't use him as often, and I would try now not to use. And I was learning on social media too. What I find funny, someone might not. And at the end of the day, I want our community to be united. I don't want to see Greeks fighting with Greeks.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's why I have to be careful and thoughtful of what goes on Are You Even Greek? Because I don't want division.
It's sort of it's funny. I sort of feel like with the way, and it's definitely COVID spiked this up more than anything. Because I felt that obviously I was at start very opinionated about certain things that didn't portray me in a good way or a good look with maybe clients, hypothetically, about certain opinions that I held of just in general the way things were being handled, not anything else, right?
Melbourne really copped it.
Yeah, and I remember at one stage someone pulled me aside and was like, "Look, man, I know you're for helping people, and I know that you want to voice your opinion, and I get that, but how is this going to affect you when it finishes with those clients?" As an example, and it was that stage for me where I was like, "Oh man, yeah, okay." And then obviously, then there was from a Greek point of view, there was a time with our faith where there's always been certain things with the new hierarchy that the way that it has happened, and certain people have had their their opinions on things, and that's fine, and I respect it. And I go to church for one thing and one thing only, for myself, not for my faith.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I don't get involved in the other stuff. And I sort of try and block it all out. But I remember seeing other people being opinionated with bits and pieces as well.
But over the years, the church has ruffled lots of people's feathers. At the end of the day, you've got to do what you feel is right. And if you reject the church, where are our children going to go? I know there's a lot of controversy around the hierarchy right now and things that have happened, but I will still take my children to church regardless.
And that's what I've always said to people. That's like everyone's got their opinions about not just hierarchy. They've always had opinions about churches, right? It's not just different now because we've got a new archbishop or whatever it might be that people find controversial. It's where do I find my solemn peace? I find it in a church and I find it next to a priest. Mostly either Father George out of East Melbourne.
I was so upset when he moved.
Or now Father Stavro out of Oakley. But
Father George, can I just say, I want to give him a plug. He is one of the greatest priests I've had to deal with. He even came, where I live is nowhere near his parish. And he came all the way to me to come bless my house. And I thought I'll ask. And instead of, I think another priest would have said, look, call your local. But he was like, that's fine, I'll come to you. And he's always done that. I've never lived near Oakley.
So we're trying pretty hard to get Father George on. Right?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's in the work. we're pushing. Like I'm talking with Presbytera Irene. Presbytera is the priest's wife. Out of respect, that's what we call. But I'm talking with Prez and we're doing what we can to get, because Father George is my spiritual father.
Yeah, so, I consider him mine.
Yeah, so I go to him.
I have a few, but he's like the main one.
There's another amazing priest just while we're talking, and if anyone but Father George for me he's incredible. I mean, our Bishop of Melbourne, Bishop Kiriako, I don't know if you've ever met him, but he's beautiful. No. He's just one of the most beautiful souls. So amazing. He's helped me a lot, right, as has Father George. But there's another priest in St. Albans.
I've never met him. I've heard good things. Yeah.
Father Vimo.
Yeah.
In St. Albans at Aya Paraskevi, St. Paraskevi. If you haven't had the chance to go out there, for anyone, he's also an incredible man. Incredible. You meet certain people and you just connect.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
feel their spiritualness, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. And if anyone, Father George is I'll see him on church I saw him this morning at church actually. I'll see him on Sunday at church and he's
Yeah. And he remembers everyone's names. It's amazing. I love people that address you by your name straight away.
He's awesome. He's awesome
Yeah.
because you can call him and message him at any time. He may take a day or two to respond, but he generally gets back to you.
He'll get back to
He'll
you.
get back to you. So he's fantastic. But if anyone, it's great, and that's what I mean. That you've always got to be. And I learned very quickly. Be careful what you share with others on a public forum versus what you have a conversation. And I'm sure you've probably found that out as well.
Yeah.
Sucks to a degree, I feel.
A little bit. I mean, and again, because I do a lot of comedy as well.
Yeah.
A lot of the controversial figures that are trending at the time say funny things.
Yeah.
And I remember, Trump's one of them. Any American politician is. You're going to get people. Why did you use him? And he's not Greek. I'm like, no one I put in my memes are Greek. But it's just funny. Like, come on. And then I made the mistake of using Kanye West.
Oh, yeah.
Because I genuinely thought what he was crapping on about was funny, but not because I agreed with it. You know when you just laugh at something? And like I said to you, my memes, I don't put thought into them. They're always off the cuff.
Incredible.
I don't plan them. And this particular meme got a lot of people upset because I was unaware that the day before Kanye had said some horrible things about the Jewish community.
Okay.
And I was not aware of that. And everyone went nuts. Like, how could you use him? He's this, he's that. I'm like,
And is this people from within the Greek community saying these things, or is
yeah,
this more?
everyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Everyone was like, well, not everyone. Some people saying it's just a joke, man, relax. And then people saw the funny. The majority saw the funny side of it, but the ones that are offended are always the loudest. And they're like, we're going to unfollow you, take it down. And when you make threats, I'm not going to take it down now because unfollow me, your loss.
Yeah.
Like, this
We'll
is
be back.
Yeah. Funny enough, they did. They came back saying, well, we've calmed down now. Yeah. They were middle-aged ladies cracking it. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it was just a joke. You must be really fun at parties.
And you're always going to be sensitive as well with certain things that you're not going to be aware of as a human to be like, oh, sorry, man, I don't actually wasn't aware of it.
That's the thing. I don't have my feelers out
Your
on
life
everything.
is not revolving around the news 24/7 of the day.
That's right. I just found him, and to be honest, I'm not a Kanye fan. I can't say I've ever bought his music. I can't really say that he's my type of person that I'd listen to. Sure, we know his music because it's always on the radio, but I don't know much about him. I was never a Kardashian fan. Yeah. So, do you know, like I don't keep up with them.
I have watched a couple of episodes actually. When I was younger.
Well, when she started, I think everyone first saw it to see what it was all about.
But I just find it ridiculous now, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. I don't follow them, so I don't get to see what happens like off the cuff.
Even music-wise for me, my mum music, I very rarely, and everybody knows this, that comes into my car. And even when I've got Sienna that works with me and she's jumping in my car, like I'm still playing Greek music. Like I don't, even if you're not Aussie, if you're non-Greek and you jump into my car, like you're still going to listen to Greek music. Like it's just
you're either going to hear 80s or Greek with me. That's it.
I've just got like Economopolo on repeat.
Yeah.
I just love the man. I love the man. It's just incredible. We always like to finish up with the same 3 questions that we ask every single guest. First one. If you could retire anywhere in the world, where are you retiring? Now, I know it's going to say Greece, but do you have a particular part?
So my father's from Kerkira.
Okay, Corfu.
Corfu. I would probably, and my mother's from Lesbos, 2 different islands. I would either be one of the 2, I think.
Nice. Nichotissa.
Nichotissa.
Proudest moment of your life?
My children.
Love that. Love that. How about, you got 2?
I've got 2 children, a boy and a girl.
Oh. If you could have dinner with 3 people in the world, who would it be and why?
Pavlos Melas would probably be one. Why? I don't know. Maybe to get the story from him.
Yeah.
And like right from like the person himself. And
The old saying of the horse's mouth.
yes, exactly. That's the saying I was looking for. Who else would I want to? I would probably want to have a family dinner with all 4 of my grandparents again.
Mm.
And I regret not asking them enough questions when they were here. So if your grandparents are around, go down there and ask them everything you need to know, because that's one thing I regret. You always think you have time, right? And how many? 3 people?
It's very good.
Yeah.
I like, to be honest, your answers. That grandparents one hit me for 6 just then.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah. And Prince.
Yeah?
I'm a massive Prince fan. Massive. Like sometimes I
Actually didn't see that one coming.
No?
No.
Yeah. Like no one does.
Yeah.
But, like I've been his massive fan since I was a little girl. So he came out with Cream, like in the mid-90s. Okay. And I was captivated.
Captivated.
Yeah, I was like, he's sick.
I so thought you would have gone like the last one being just on the Greek tradition.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be an Avicii maybe or something like that.
I love Avicii.
Yeah.
I've had dinner with her.
Of course you have.
Yeah, I've had dinner with her, so that's okay. She's actually one of my favourite Greek female artists. And when she came to Australia last, I was quite lucky to be able to sit down and have dinner with her. She is an amazing artist and person.
I love it.
She's so normal. You know what I mean? And but going back to Prince, I loved him that much that when he passed away, I had benthos. And people were bringing me Paximadia.
Oh, legit?
Like legit. And they were like giving I took 2 weeks off work. I had grief, like I had to have annual leave off because I was that devastated. Oh, no. And I had just seen him in concert. So he was in Australia, I think it was like 2 weeks before. So I'm like, I just saw him.
You're a fan.
Oh, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, that's what I mean. I'm either listening to 80s.
Yeah.
So Prince is in that mix or Greek.
Well, I love seeing you at because obviously I've got to know you now through the Gitonia guys as well, and all those types of stuff that they're doing, and shout out to them for doing amazing things. But loving seeing what you're doing and your incredible growth. And I think from a lot of us, because I don't know how many people would say it, but driving on the way here, when I was driving here, I was like, man, this girl has done a lot for our community, right? And I don't know if you're never been told thank you. So genuinely, and I really mean it from the bottom of my heart, thank you for doing what you can for us and shining a light on everything that we are, because as proud alienists that we are, our kids have to have something to continue on the tradition of, and sometimes it is up to us. Yeah. And I think you're leading by a far margin than a lot of us out there are doing. So thank you genuinely for doing what you're doing, because you're carrying it away from home for us. So it's pretty amazing. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're a legend.
It means a lot.
A massive, massive thank you again to our sponsors for continuing to assist us, and welcome back again, Andrew from Barbecue Brothers. That's the most amazing hero. Did it on my 30th birthday. Yeah. It's awesome. But Andrew from Barbecue Brothers, Anthony Gallo from Beckett Property, Pip from Property Society Co., and lastly, of course, Marissa from Gigi Hair and Kids. Thank you for continuing to back this incredible project and bringing, obviously, amazing people such as Kristina onto the podcast at Are You Even Greek? If you haven't already, make sure you follow, tune into the episode, share it, follow, do everything you can, subscribe, and continue to grow up, because what this amazing woman next to me, mother, wife, and Collingwood fan is doing is amazing things for our community. So massive thank you again. We can't wait.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're the best. Tune in. See you soon.